Turn that down. All right, so we've got new ISC on June 5th. And we got 4.2 into the storm. Let's see what we can get into.
Stormbreaker is all about taking the next step in exploration gameplay.
Okay.
Making exploration work in Star Citizen actually requires you to go out and build locations that players want to visit. That's what we're doing now.
We were trying to push our FPS combat existing in-game and actually get players to feel like they're actually fighting for something.
Stormbreaker
Without being able to lose any loot.
Is different because
Here?
you don't go into your contract manager to look.
Hold on. This is going to happen a lot. I do own them. I do enjoy them. They're mainly for protection and sport shooting. I have a few. That being said, why is there a 4x scope on a SMG? Cloud picked up on it. Why is there a 4x scope on an SMG? First of all. Second of all, can I have this armor in red? Third of all, dude's wearing a t-shirt. Since when can you put armor over a t-shirt? He's not wearing an undersuit. I have questions. But that is not the big one. The big one
You don't go into your contract manager.
His firearm is not loaded. It's not even chambered. This firearm has no bullets in it. Visually, from what I see here. Correct, Cloud. It's just a video game. This bugs me. I mean, let me rephrase. At the very least, this gun is not chambered. The magazine could be filled, but he kind of needs to hit that slide release to load a round in the chamber. Okay.
Manager to look for what to do. You just go off, fly down to a planet, and you start exploring.
We wanted to lead players from place to place and make them question what they're seeing.
So I want to be clear here. Stormbreaker isn't an event, and it's not a mission. It is a sandbox activity. It will be persistent. It will keep happening. Every single patch, you can come back and you can run this over and over and over again, just like you can the Align and Mine sandbox activity.
It's not an event.
This is a continuation of the Regen Crisis storyline. In 4.1, we saw how Rayari was trying to tackle the Regen Crisis.
In 4.2, we're starting to see what ASD, a faction called Associated Science and Development, is doing to address the regen crisis.
ASD is probably best publicly known for their weapons research division, which has released some high-tech weaponry that's already available to put on your ship. But they have many other research departments, and they're doing their part to help out with the current regen crisis.
Are those distortion repeaters? Is that what those are?
And
That's the Pirate
the
Gladius.
Second Life Initiative, they're doing their part
Hold
to
on.
help
Isn't that the Pirate Gladius? Isn't that the pirate paint for the Gladius?
out with the current regen crisis. And the Second Life Initiative, they're diving into trying to fix the problem with imprints and regen. So it'll be interesting to see what solutions
Building
they
a better
propose.
tomorrow.
Now, over the years, ASD has gained a little bit of a reputation for maybe
Oh, they're doing testing on animals? Oh, they all must die. I don't care what the animal is, they all must die.
pushing things a tad too far. One of their weapons was known for the particularly gruesome effect it had on people it was targeted on, which gained them a bit of a reputation across the Empire for maybe pushing science a little bit farther than they should.
Show it shooting. You.
Stormbreaker will start with these data facilities that you will find on Pyro 4.
This is where ASD is storing a lot of their data. So you'll find a bunch of servers, and this is actively being guarded by security forces. Which means
Wearing no
you have to
armor.
land your ship somewhere where it's safe, and then make your way down on foot.
ASD does not want you there. They will be quite upset that you're trespassing.
So if you want to explore the facility, you'll have to fight your way in.
Uh-huh.
You'll find quite a few places in the facility that aren't that easy to get into.
As you explore as a player, you will encounter a new type of door access, the Lotus Scanner. You will need to kill the enemies in the area to try to pass as one of them wearing their outfit. It is just a simple door, but with this new mechanic, you can feel like Indiana dressing as the enemies and go inside the enemy lines.
Access granted.
As you explore deeper into the facility, if you pay attention to your environment,
Hey, his gun's loaded now. It's chambered at the very least, or visually could look chambered.
you'll notice a number of different places and rooms that require a bit of extra effort to get into.
There will be unique loot, and the more of the facility guards you relieve of the ability to go home and say goodnight to their children, you will
Jesus
slowly
Christ, Elliot.
find the first piece of the puzzle that you'll need to finish this entire loop.
And here is my biggest issue with maybe not this location. Hold on. Hold on. I will reserve.
This entire loop. So if you discover the secrets that we've hidden and you've taken care of the environment, you've found the information, you've read through the information, you've listened to the information, you might find that your journey takes you to Pyro 1.
Once you arrive at Pyro 1, there's one thing you'll immediately notice. A huge storm.
It is just mind-blowing. It looks beautiful. There will be rain. You've got this very dark environment because of this overhanging cloud. You've got lightning just constantly going off inside the clouds. It looks phenomenal.
If you were to fly into the storm, you'll notice that your ship starts taking massive amounts of distortion damage. If you don't watch out, this can seriously mess up your ship.
Cause it to turn off, and you will plummet to the ground. If you don't explode, out of luck, you then have to walk out of the storm.
You'll quickly notice that you'll be affected by radiation damage.
So unless you've brought a load of rad pens, you're likely gonna die. And that's not even to say anything that might be in the storm that has mutated and isn't the normal version of what it once was.
So how do you get into the storm where ASD doesn't want you to go? On the outer edges of the storm, you'll find 3 shuttle stations that each have a shuttle that lead into the storm.
Once again, ASD don't want you there, so you'll have to part people with their lives.
These shuttles are specially retrofitted to allow them to withstand the distortion damage, allowing employees and also players into the storm.
We've made sure the roof is glass. It's using the old Crusader shuttles, so you can actually appreciate all of the beauty of the storm.
Look at all this work we've done. Just look at it.
And also players into the storm.
We've made sure the roof
And we're
is
going to get to my
glass.
biggest
It's using
beef
the
here
old Crusader
shortly.
shuttles, so you can actually appreciate all of the beauty of the storm.
This is where some of the weather system improvements come in that we've been working on. Where
It's a
you'll
filter.
see rain hitting the windshield, lightning outside, and thunder in the distance.
And also, you get a little bit of respite before the shit we're gonna put you through. So it's kind of like a nice, like, oh, look at this, and then you're gonna land on the beaches of Normandy, D-Day style. Here we go.
That was okay.
When you get off the shuttle, everything's gonna try to kill you.
You'll be immediately assaulted by loads of security guards outside.
It is very dark.
All right, hold on. The guy that they zoom into looking at the first person view. This guy right here. What exactly is he shooting at?
Be immediately assaulted by
What exactly is he shooting at?
loads of security guards outside.
Sorry, I just...
It is very dark. The visibility is very low.
You'll start being affected by the radiation damage from the storm. If you do manage to get a radiation suit, you'll still find irradiated wildlife for you to contend with.
Nice.
So just watch your back, watch your friend's back.
Friends
Your
in this
objective is to get inside as quickly as possible into the relative safety of the research base.
Once you're inside this facility, that's where Stormbreaker really begins.
All that stuff that you've done to get there, that was purely the beginning. It's the intro scene in the movie. You've not even hit the movie yet.
Inside, you'll find danger, mystery, great loot,
Death, action, cruelty.
audio logs, finally an alternative to reading,
Hello. Here we go.
new ways to open doors, which doesn't seem exciting, but we really are excited about it.
I'm really excited to see you playing with this new mechanic.
You're gonna find irradiated things.
Eggs, babies, screaming,
They might all be connected.
the horrors of science
Sorry.
run amok.
You can find new battle vehicles that can only be earned in game. I said choo-choo as well. This isn't a fucking train. It's got massive weapons.
They're tier 0. They're size 0.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. He's got the acting qualification, I don't.
I want players to feel something different to what they've been feeling when playing Star Citizens.
Oh, so
I
they
want
actually...
them to be hyped.
Okay, so they actually want those who have the icties to get them, put them in a ship, and then do and do drops. All right, cool. That's fine. Still haven't got to where my biggest beef in this whole thing is, and Cloud keeps hitting the outer surface of where I'm about to go with this.
Hyped for every bit of the mystery that they are trying to discover and all of the clues that they get right.
I think it's going to be an amazing patch. We've all been working very, very hard.
We've got VFX, lighting, audio, all of that is coming together to create the biggest, baddest content that you've seen in Star Citizen so far.
It's going to be cinema, as Zach would say. I'm really excited for you all to play it. I'm really excited to see you all discover it.
And the story doesn't end here. It really gets messed up in August.
August?
It's really cool. I want to tell you everything.
So stop watching the video and go play the game.
Yeah, go play the game.
So we'll have what, 4.3 in August? Is that how we're doing this release?
Now, of course, for those of you that have been playing...
Hey, Jared, you cut your hair.
Now, of course, for those of you that have been playing or watching PTU for the last week, you already know much of what's not being said here. But that's by design. As we said back in February, it's our intention this year to have you discover as much as possible in-game through our monthly patches instead of having everything just spoiled here. And by the time Stormbreaker releases in about 2 weeks, there should still be a few more changes and improvements along the way. Oh, also, special shout out to Louis, Max, and everyone on the Montreal Environment team for kicking all kinds of ass on this one. And don't forget, we're currently taking submissions for this year's CitizenCon watch parties, where we'll send devs to watch the program alongside of you, and they have to submit to your every question. Mostly. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week for Star Citizen Live. Where'd my hair go?
There it is. So let's just kick back for just a second.
Playing or watching PTU for the last week, you already know much of what's not being said here. But that's by design. As we said back in February, it's our intention this year to have you discover as much as possible in-game through our monthly patches instead of having everything just spoiled here. And by the time Stormbreaker releases in about 2 weeks, there should still be...
So the patch or the event is going to go... So there's the question, because you have to read into some things and kind of take some things with a grain of salt. Is the patch dropping 2 weeks from now? Because that would be after Alien Week, which was intriguing, depending on when this was recorded. Because could have recorded this 2 months ago and just known the dates back then. So Cloud's touched on, kind of made a few remarks that kind of touches the surface of my issue with this entire thing. So we're going to be vague. Yeah, you're not wrong. But so the main location that's on Pyro 1 surrounded by a storm. You can't fly into it. Not going to get close enough, and your ship's going to, just go completely dead before you even get there. Fine, whatever. Idris's, doesn't matter what vehicle it is, whether it's a ground vehicle, air vehicle. The only thing that seems to be immune are the atlases, right? So the only way into that location are through transit spots. Get on the trams. The issue is these locations have good loot. What looks to be the majority of it can sit in, and you can put it in a backpack. Get some loot, get out, fine, whatever. However, they're also putting ship components into these locations, which means you have to tractor the ship components onto a tram, take the tram back to where you're going to go, and then unload that into your ship and take off, which might seem easy on paper. However, what do a lot of players like to do in this game? Camp locations. Now, call it piracy. There's going to be some haters out there that call it griefing, whatever the case may be, but it's a bottleneck that you've put into the game that for the people who do the entire event from start to finish, not event, but do the entire path from start to finish, put in the work to do everything, only to be taken out at the end and have that loot, removed from them. It's a play style in the game. It is what it is. Kind of feel like these may more so should have been an instanced aspect, but given with the type of game that Star Citizen is, instancing doesn't seem to be a thing. That's where my biggest beef comes in, is that I'm not going to want to go to these places personally, just because I don't want to put in all of that work for me to get dead by desync because the other player wasn't desynced and I was, or vice versa. And while I think I'm hitting him, I'm really not, but he's hitting me and I'm dead. And then I lose the loot that I've worked hard to get, whether it's a ship component, anything in the backpack, whatever the case may be. I give two shits less if, not to circle this into the item recovery in tier 0. I give two shits whether or not the gear that is on me is lost or not. I'm not a fan of tier 0. Not a fan of what tier 1 or tier 2 is going to be, but the point of this is putting ship components in there and having to put them on a tram with the issues with physics as it is right now in the game. How often ship components are going to fall through because the physics broke for a hot second and it just dropped through. But anyways, it's just so many annoyances that are there. I don't know. There's some certain things of this that I obviously would like to see different, but not a game for me. It's a game for everybody. At least it should be. Still some gripes that I have. And PvP is not in a great state, Claude. You're not wrong. I mean, the other aspect of that needs to be fixed is the repercussions for breaking the law. I mean, well, this is in Pyro, so there is no law, so that is one thing. In Arcane, and that's kind of where, like, I had no issue. The issue I had with what I'm about to say is I had to go to multiple locations to get the set that I wanted to build, because I don't wear a full set of one thing or a full set of another. I would wear medium arms, medium legs, and heavy torso and a heavy helmet. But I personally didn't have an issue buying 5 or 10 pieces of each piece of armor, stowing it at my home base, whether it was a backpack, torso, legs, doesn't matter. Buy, 10 rifles, 500 mags, whatever the case may be. Like, I personally didn't have an issue with that. That was a part of the game. It is what it is. I would take all that, throw it in an SCU crate, and hope that I made it back to my home base, not a city, but my home base, store everything in inventory and call it a day. I had no issue with that. That was a part of the game. I accepted it. It is what it is. But for me, right now, there's just no more risk besides what's in my backpack. If I lose in the backpack, oh well. The vast majority of the time that is in my backpack is ammo and drink and meds. That's it. Those are all things that I can go to one central location and pick up. And by me saying that does not mean to migrate those things to multiple different locations. Having to go to multiple separate locations, like even if you wanted the full ADP dark red set of armor, top to bottom, you have to go to 2, maybe 3 locations, I believe. Parts of it, You could go to Cubby Blast, I think, on Area 18 and get all 4 pieces. Maybe. But anyways, I don't know. I had no issue with going and buying multiple pieces and putting it on. This isn't a thing about the item recovery. This is more so how this event is built. And the fact that there is a bottleneck of attempting to get ship components out of these locations. So now my next question is, Hathor. Are they changing the loot pool to drive everyone to these new locations? And are they going to remove those ship components from Hathor? I wouldn't put it past them. I don't want to be negative about this, but I wouldn't put it past them removing ship components from Hathor. Now the only thing you have spawned there is just a couple of guns and some, random med pets and guns. Anyways, that's all I got for this. I'm excited for the new event. I do want to go and look at it and explore and see it, this, that, and the other. But I'm not personally going to waste time pulling out ship components because I feel like should be a different way to do that. I don't know what it is. I'm no developer and I'm just armchairing the hell out of this right now. That's what I got. Like, subscribe. I need the views.